back. You are listening to the IBGR.network. IBGR is our call sign as a radio station, but we are more than a radio station. We are a network. I am your host, Jan Roberts, Global Influencer. This is episode 1 about the new show, the new season, season 3, in our People Lane People Skills for Success at IBGR.network. I'm going to give you some more insights into upcoming shows for you, and should you miss, not sure what excuse you can possibly use that you could miss a show, but they will be recorded and you can get the podcast as well as show notes from our website at ibgr.network. So, in the previous session we talked about 4 of the shows coming up this season, and I hope you have got a good basic idea. But here we'll go over the next few episodes, so bear with me. And one of them is the 5th one will be about entrepreneurship and leadership. Now, it is so easy to forget about leadership when you are busy starting out. So much to do, so little time, and soft skills are put on the back burner. The importance of those entrepreneurs should most certainly not be underestimated and must become part of your growth plan. See, when we realize that leadership is not just for other people, that leadership begins with self-leadership and therefore personal development, we must all engage in it daily. Now, I will talk into various levels of leadership, various styles of communication, strengths of a leader, and how entrepreneurs can develop their leadership skills by investing time, even money, to start that often intriguing journey from within. Now, the personal assessment I use as a behavioral consultant and trainer is the Maxwell DISC assessment. It's Maxwell DISC, you might have heard of DISC before, but this is different from the standard DISC assessment as it goes much more into your personality as well as your strengths as a leader. The assessment only takes about 15 minutes online, and you will get your 31 page report in the inbox within a few minutes of completion. Now, so there is things you can do then. You can do a personality assessment because it is so important to get to know yourself. You're going to be dealing with public, you're going to be dealing with clients, you're going to be dealing with customers, you're going to be dealing with suppliers, you're going to be dealing with maybe joint ventures or collaborations or whatever that looks like. So it is very important to get to know yourself and learn to connect better with other people. So if you can discover your strengths and indeed your weaknesses, then you know what to do. Learning styles are also very helpful, whether you're a visual, audio, kinesthetic learner, and also developing your PGP, your personal growth plan. As an entrepreneur, it's also very important. If you had to take your calendar out right now and kind of looked what your growth plan is for the next 12 months, you might have already put a question mark over your head when I said personal growth plan. What is it? Now, it is very important. There's no doubt about it, and I will talk more into it. So if you want to know all about it, you need to listen to the show. You need to come to the show. But I will also talk into DISC, which is, the fact that there's 41 different possibilities, but 4 main categories. You might have already guessed that a D, the I, the S, and the C. And yes, there is a variety of ways in which you can talk into personality profile. There is Strength Finder, there is Myers-Briggs, there is some of them are even for free. Mine isn't, but there is some of them are even for free because I also provide a personal one-on-one debrief or group debriefs for organizations. But it is very important to get to know yourself. If you just already asked 2 questions from a DISC perspective, and many of them are very similar. If you're outgoing or you are reserved, are you people oriented or task oriented, then you've got a good idea where this person is, but you need to know what it is all about, of course. Do you see yourself as a dominant, inspiring, steady or cautious person? But I also recently watched another leadership expert talk about a different assessment again, which talked about dominant commanders, visionary influencers, supportive collaborators and logical creators. So as I said, different assessment, different names, but fairly similar explanations about those 4 main behavioral styles, and then there's more. So we will certainly talk about all that and the different leadership styles and which one is better than others. But for entrepreneurs, that they need to lead and leading themselves, There is no doubt about that. And personal growth. See, because if you take leadership, and that we're all leaders. Now, how do we all become better leaders? It starts with developing ourselves from within. So personal development is a big part of your people skills. And we'll talk into that, but you need to listen to the show. Then the next show, as the sixth one, is the meeting before the meeting. Okay, I can already hear you say no. Oh no, not more meetings. What is the meeting before the meeting? Now, some feel it is just more work, and others feel that it does work. Between knowing how to utilize the meeting before the meeting and changing your mindset overall, we will tackle this topic on the show in session number 6. Now, there is a lot of things that are covered there. What is the meeting before the meeting? What kind of preparation do you need? The reason to have the meeting, the goals and objectives to have such a meeting, and the research you can do prior to the meeting to understand your audience or the people sitting on the other side of the table. And there's so much you can do. Now, I'm also going to cover, and I already did some more homework on that as I went through this, that John Maxwell has 5 words to talk about the meeting before the meeting, which I'll talk into. And these 5 words are the goal of the meeting before the meeting, the credibility, the awareness, the appreciation, and the application. But again, you need to listen to number 6 or live, or go to the ibgr.network to get the podcast afterwards. And there is more points there that talk into the social media, how you can find out more about different people, especially LinkedIn nowadays, Google, people who you take into the meeting with you, and it's a lot like being a Boy Scout. Be prepared. So the importance of preparing for important meetings and moments, especially when you're with people who are, as John Maxwell mentioned, bigger, better, and faster than you. Then you need to really be prepared. And then, of course, he talks about bookends, where the front part is the meeting before the meeting for preparation, and the back end of after the meeting is reflection. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to talk into all that kind of stuff, but you need to come and listen. Then there's episode number 7 will come up, Business Meetings 101. Meetings are so important for team building, progressive your vision, to grow your business. But if you cannot focus and keep everyone engaged, they can be a total waste of time. Now, I don't know about you, but when you have the question, do you need to have and emphasize it, do you need to have a meeting? Because I've been at plenty of meetings and walking away wondering, why did we ever have that meeting in the first place? And I'm sure if you've been at plenty of meetings, you have the same feelings. And the other thing is, why did they last so long? There is people sitting at these meetings trying to impress other people just by talking, and they don't listen to anybody else. And if the meeting is about a couple hours long, things get repeated and repeated and repeated by different people because they are so busy trying to think about how to say things, how to impress other people, and the need to talk rather than the need to listen. So there is a lot to this. And who is in a meeting? What style of meetings will it have? Then I also will mention the tips for a good meeting. The meeting, there's that word again, the meeting etiquette when you are in the crowd. It amuses me every time I look at that. But we're going to talk into that kind of stuff, the layout of a productive meeting, the kind of flow of a productive meeting. I also deliver presentation skills workshops, and while listening to the delegates as well as attending many online meetings and seminars, I started to include a separate session just for online delivery, as there are so many things to think about and to take care of. I even deliver that online presentation skills workshop as a separate crash course for corporate now. So that is not how to present, but that's everything else when you're presenting online, what you now need to think about that you never had to think about before, like putting down phones, signing on early, closing emails, having a camera on, knowing where the camera is, knowing your mute button. There is some important stories there where people, of course you need the toilet, but if you are on your phone and you forget to switch on, it can be not the only but a most embarrassing moment for you. So these kind of things are all going to be in there as well. We're going to talk about this in a fun way as well, because it's serious, but we need to enlighten ourselves a little bit. Lighten up, we only live once, but we need to learn at the same time. So then we have session number 8, in which we'll discuss strategic connections. We will be focusing on strategic connection, comparing connections to fellowship, and even tossing in some Facebook groups. So we're going to define what a strategic connection is. Compare the commitment to building connections versus building fellowship. How to be effective at networking events and one-on-one meetings. Why it is beneficial for your brand and business to build strategic connections. You'll get all this stuff coming on. But also the strategic connections, the agreement between two or more entities to conduct specific activities or processes to achieve specific objectives, such as product development and distribution. That's a strategic connection. That's one of them at least. But you need the steps to success for building such strong connections. And we're going to talk about listening, giving, meeting, having plans, setting goals, holding each other accountable. Zig Ziglar once says, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people to get what they want. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Find the groups that work best for you and your business. Now, what we're going to do just now, we are going to take a short and final 2 to 3 minute break. When we return, we will be talking about the how and what need to be implemented, for these successful journeys. And we're going to talk about the last couple of episodes. So join us, become a member of our Insiders Network by going to our website and clicking the Join Us link, and connect and interact with us on the social media and Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram and Twitter at ibgr.network. And do not forget, in just over an hour's time, we're going live on Facebook, and we will be having an amazing time. You will be meeting our host. So we'll see you back very shortly.